Hey everybody, so I don't know if you're finding this after manifestation videos or if you just found the video, but I think I'm going to take a break from manifestation because the things that I wanted to experience haven't happened. And I'm not saying it's because it doesn't work. I just know because of my own anxiety and feeling depressed majority of the time, I just couldn't get into the mindset where I actually believed that things were going to change. So I would constantly be reacting and assuming that everything is still the same and not seeing things unfold. So I kind of took a break from that. I might just archive those videos that I have, or I'll just leave them. I don't know. But I want to talk about living with anxiety and depression and how that's not living at all, because I feel like I'm in this constant state of feeling unsafe, in a constant state of feeling inferior, disempowered, and I don't like to compare to other people, but I just can't help but think that people have it better because at least they're not struggling with this type of existential crisis that I am, and they get to feel more normal than I do. It's just frustrating because you don't know how to break out of that. When you're in that state, you naturally feel like everything is just bigger than you, and it can feel overwhelming. Sorry, I'm about to yawn. But yeah, it just feels overwhelming, and I feel like I'm not a functioning adult. As much as I really wanted to say that I worked on my emotional maturity, I feel like I've evolved and grown, but the way that I'm still reacting to feeling this anxiety and depression, it makes me feel like I haven't gone anywhere. And I know sometimes growth isn't linear, so you could have your highs, feel like you overcame this, had your little realizations, and then have another bad day. And unless I feel like that's part of emotional maturity, to know that the bad days are still gonna happen once in a while, and it doesn't take away from what you've already changed and realized, but it still feels like this crippling thing that I can't overcome, and it's frustrating to have to exist like that. It almost feels like I don't know how to just be a normal human being, a normal adult that can feel like they have the capacity to handle things, like being independent and, just succeeding at things that they want to do, because it still sucks feeling like I don't have a purpose, feeling like I'm lost. I don't feel like I'm actually living life the way that we were intended to. It's frustrating being in the same place mentally. It feels like I'm in the same place mentally, emotionally, even though I had different awakenings and observations to kind of detach from old mindsets that I've had. I still find myself very angry and upset with myself, as much as I try to have the forgiveness to say that those things helped me get to this point to just empower myself and then I could let it go. I'm still reacting to things in the same way, and it makes me feel like I'm not learning anything, or at least able to apply the things that I've been learning in the way that it's meant to. And I don't know how much time it's going to take, because I feel like I've been going through this well over, I want to say it's more than 10 years on this like self-improvement type of journey. But I don't really know what the outcome is anymore, because I've had desires of things and ideas to try and accomplish, but in failing to accomplish those things, it continuously makes me want to give up. I feel like there's something wrong with me, because I'm not okay with the average 9 to 5 that people are used to working. One, because it doesn't support my ability to take care of myself. I know I had to learn some things about money management, but now as I'm getting to a place where I'm kind of neutral and, going into the positive, I feel like even in learning through those processes, I'm just frustrated. Like, I know the things that I get upset about is normal for most people, so they probably wouldn't even have the same reaction to it, but I just can't help feeling like a failure, and I'm trying to change that mindset, but it never really lasts long enough for me to feel at ease and then see myself going in another direction. I think the problem is when you're so used to not being able to get your successes to completion, you feel afraid to even pursue anything else. Or I guess it's one of those things where the journey has just been so rough, you can't even fathom that this route is the way to lead you to your outcome. And I don't want to be one of those people that go get emotional on these videos, but like I've seen evidence of that in other people's lives, people that I know that had journeys of having a family and all these things. It didn't look like where it would be right now. And if you gave up early in the journey, it probably would have never got to this point. But I'm seeing the evidence of like not being so stuck on the process of how things unfold and focus on the outcome. But it's been hard for me to do. As much as I sit there and say that I've tried, I haven't really had much faith or trust that it'll work out for me. And a lot of times when you have anxiety, depression, it's easy for you to catastrophize and say that this works out for everybody but me, or you're somehow the exception to all of humanity, to where things just aren't gonna work out. And the thing about that scares me is living the rest of my life in that mindset and never accomplishing anything that makes me feel worthy. I'm not saying anything's gonna happen. I'm just saying I hate existing this way, and I hate having those thoughts and feelings that just continue to make me feel like I'm worthless, even though I know I'm not. I know I'm valuable. I know I'm worthy. I know just because my existence alone, there's a place for me here in this world. But time and time again, I struggle to find what that place is. Like, other people know they want to be a nurse, they want to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer, they want to be a teacher, or they're just really good at it. So at least with those things that they're doing, they could make a living, even if it's something that caused them burnout or whatever. With those credentials, you could still do other stuff or have your own thing. But it just feels like I never really felt drawn to anything with a certain skill set where I was right off the bat just good at it. And that's what frustrates me about learning new things or having hobbies, is when I lack the confidence in doing those things, I just feel like I'm not good enough. There's so many things I wanted to do, like art, DJing, like other skills that I had attempted to learn, and I felt the excitement, but in my inability to do it easily from the beginning, it just makes me feel like just to give up. And I'm tired of giving up on things that give me joy. I just wanted it to come easier, or being able to feel like you like it enough to not be upset about the hard parts. Because you gotta, like, people will say you have to have a why about why you want things, whether that's a family, have kids, or a certain career or whatever achievements. And most people, I feel like they're driven to where they're not gonna give up on what they want. But I haven't felt driven. I'll be excited for a little bit, but when I feel like I don't have the resources to continue, which in most cases is not having enough money, it's just frustrating, because I know that you don't need it. There could be other people who are more than willing to teach you and do things for you just for free, just out of their enjoyment of whatever they're good at and wanting to share their skill set. But I'm just not surrounded by those people. So when you feel like you're in an environment that doesn't encourage growth, not surrounded by people who are enthusiastic about things, or at least driven in terms of having passions and projects, it just sucks. Because I know that's part of the issue too. It's like I just want so bad to have peace or feel excited about life, and it's just not there. And wanting something so bad and never getting it. It's just always out of reach. I just wanted to be able to look back on my life and genuinely say I was proud of myself, that I actually liked myself, and just not have any regrets and just be happy. But I just feel like I don't even know what happiness is. I don't know what love is. It almost feels like I'm not even capable of doing those things or feeling those things. And I know it's all a byproduct of my mindset, but even when I find that little glimmer of hope or that change in conditioning or whatever, like I said, it doesn't feel like I'm capable of sustaining it. And I feel like that's part of my wrong definitions of what happiness and love is, because you shouldn't have to force it or keep your focus on it for you to have that awareness. It just needs to be something that's in your awareness more than the negative things, for you to actually feel like you're in that state or in that positive mindset or just in that positive energy, because that even is reflected by the people that's around you. So clearly me being alone feels like I'm definitely not projecting that, but I know not to seek it out. I know I just have to be it. But I just haven't felt like I could sustain the feeling of peace. I just feel so restless from being upset and not being where I thought I wanted to be, or even just being happy with where I am. It's like before I became so self-aware of this stuff, at least that ignorance of, you know, my mindset and manifesting and all of that, or even just this not higher thinking, but even just this difference in thinking of how life is and just existence in itself. It just makes me feel like before I was looking so deep into self-improvement, at least that ignorance, I didn't feel so, even though I felt like I had no power, I still feel like I was more happier back then than I was now. Like, people who are ignorant to the self-reflection, all of that, you don't have so much pressure on yourself because you're kind of just going with the flow. And I just wonder how I would have been different if I never started looking at myself inward. I feel like I would have been better off for it, but I don't really know. I probably would have been doing a completely different job or pursuing something else. But I think mentally, even though I was in a rough place, I probably would have made better decisions. Or if I was unhappy, I would have quit and done something else a long time ago. But I don't know. I feel like I keep choosing the wrong path. And if I stay where I'm at for the next 30-40 years, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I would just feel like the ultimate failure. It's nothing against people who want that, you know, work a job for 40 years and maybe even longer than that if they have nothing else going on, but I just want to have some sense of accomplishment. I just wanted my life to have more of a purpose than causing me sadness, fear, 24/7. I know this isn't meant for everybody, which is why I just don't say things to people, because most of them aren't even thinking about life in this way. So you kind of feel alone, and you don't want to be that person that just vents negative stuff. So yeah, here I am posting on the internet for potentially so many people to see if it was to blow up. But at this point, it feels easier just talking to a camera and posting it than it does finding somebody to talk to in real life. And I told myself I'll at least have the confidence to do it if at least one individual sees it and it helps them. I don't mean to repeat myself, but I think I said something like that in the beginning. But what I could just say is, existing with fear, sorry, I don't know why I'm yawning so much, but as y'all can see, it got darker. Existing in a state of fear and panic about everything, there's no way to live comfortably. So I told myself, when I have those moments of weakness, doesn't have to be a bad thing. If I just need to cry or be emotional about it, I let it out. But I can't continue to fixate on things that people do to me that I don't like, or things that I do to myself, or things that I think. I'm just tired. All I know is I could just work as much as I can to save up money and be better with budgeting and managing that stuff, so that I could at least find a way to move out, something realistic but doable. So just in terms of the next steps, because I don't want to just leave off with a step to take, anybody's just watching this, to deal with the feelings, allow yourself to cry, let it out, journal. That's what I'm gonna do. I went to Barnes and Nobles and I bought this suede journal. I bought this book and this one. So I'm gonna go watch these videos that kind of talked about jealousy. And I realized when I feel jealousy, it's because it's a reminder that I'm not capable of having whatever that thing is. And it's not anything specific to a person I could point out. It's just literally coming from my mentality of feeling inferior to everybody, like they got it figured out and I don't. So when I feel jealous, I just feel like I wish I was happy like that person. I wish I didn't have the mentality I do right now that's causing me to feel like I'm failing at controlling what I need to control in order to yield whatever results. So with that, it's just wishing that I had contentment, or not that I necessarily want kids, but if I was to, that I would have somebody that I could see myself raising them with, to have that happiness or whatever. Like, I'm always comparing and thinking that other people's lives and paths they chose are better than the one that I chose for myself, because I feel so depressed about what I've done. And I just feel like I'm not capable of having the contentment and happiness that other people are with their choices. So I saw 2 videos of this girl that was talking about like jealousy and how we're kind of conditioned by society to, you know, compete with other people when you don't have to. You should be able to want good for others and genuinely mean it. And I do, but I just realized I haven't done that for myself, which makes me project it outward onto others. So I know I'm not really mad at people for their lives and their paths that they chose, but it comes up as being mad at them because I don't know how to like myself and like my own life and genuinely feel like I want to play my character that I was born to play, if that makes sense. So I had just went to the bookstore so I could journal while I watched that video over, because there were some points that helped me, and just think like, if I do have friends in the future, the dynamic I would want to have, genuinely care about them and their well-being, obviously care about mine. So this isolated period is really for me to figure out how to care about myself first and get some things, even if they're small, that contribute to my own happiness, so that I don't feel upset about what other people are doing. At least having a group of friends that uplift and isn't just about partying or whatever drama, but genuinely fulfilling, satisfying things and conversations in terms of just life and growth, because I feel like that's what I was lacking in past experiences, and it's really because I just felt that way. So obviously I could have done things better with maintaining friendships or even establishing new ones, but it's just so much insecurity on my part that I realized it would never have worked. So I think, what was I gonna say? So yeah, like, so with that, is just take a time to reflect, write out what you're angry about, and see the correlation between the thoughts you're constantly thinking and your point of view of your situation, and try to turn it around into something positive, just in terms of, even if it's saying, this is teaching me I don't want to think this way, or I don't want to continue to see something such as obstacles or problems in my life. Turn it into a solution for you. Turn it into a solution that you know, I need to change my mentality about things. I need to have a different relationship with my feelings so it doesn't turn into beating myself up every day, all day, or being projected onto other people and feeling like I can't connect with them when it's really not connecting with yourself that's the problem. So yeah, it's really just emotional management, changing your mindset, and being very self-reflective, and then breaking your habits. So I know for me, I just literally eat, sleep, watch YouTube videos, watch some TV shows. If there's a whole series, I might binge the whole thing, and that's literally my routine. So I realized at the emotional aspect, I've not wanted to care about myself as much. So taking care of your health is another thing. Your emotions and hormones and all the things going on are going to be taking an effect on your health. So that's the next thing that you should focus on. If it's exercising, work out at home. If you're not comfortable going out, changing your diet. So I know I've been taking like herbal teas and stuff like that to help with my blood, to try to, cleanse it. But I have to change my diet too in order for that to have a proper effect. So that's the next thing that I'm working on. Like, I know I feel drowsy and lazy and get really bloated because I'm just sad all the time. So I'm trying to move some of that energy in my body and incorporate workouts. So that's probably what I'll do when I go home, is do some type of workout and just incorporate it into my routine. And not, even though it is to change my physique a little bit, is more so I feel drowsy and not moving my body. So find some type of activity, whether it's going to the gym or even a dance class or something, where you can kind of knock two things out at one time. It's a hobby, but if it's keeping you physically active and you can do it consistently enough, you kind of build up a routine for movement or whatever. So you got to take care of the mental, the physical, the emotional aspect, and then move to some goals, but make them small and achievable to start off. So for me, I do like art, but I can't draw. So it's more abstract, or making like different figures, whether it's with resin or whatever. So I think I need to do research into different mediums in order to see how I could do it. Or I did a paint and sip the other day, so I might just do more of those because it was kind of cheap anyway, and I just had myself a drink or whatever. So I think even if I do a paint and sip once a week or twice a month or whatever, just so I'm still using my artistic skills, that'll help me build confidence and see if I could recreate that, or at least overcome that disappointment in myself for not being like perfect at things. I realized, I guess for me, it's just, I'm not going to have that confidence doing things. So I just have to build it with repetition and continuing to do things and not seeing myself as a failure. So the biggest thing is working through that discomfort. But yeah, if you don't like art, that's fine. But whatever hobbies that you could try to give yourself something to do and break up your habits. And for me, I'm going to be doing those things alone, at least until I meet people. But I'm not going to be going out desperately thinking, oh, I got to make friends here. I'm really just doing it for myself. I'll socialize with, the instructor and whoever is around, make small talk. But I think even that in itself is a success for me, instead of thinking I have to do this, I have to go these places so I could meet people. No, for me, it's just going to be, I need to socialize, and I'm going to do something I like while doing it. And that's really it. So, in order to come alive and feel present and feel excited about life, you kind of have to take your small excitements and let them build on each other. So remember the things that got you excited, or the way that you felt happy when it came to certain things you were doing. If that's music for you, maybe you do like to party or go to things that are like listening parties or festivals or concerts or whatever, or different venues where things happen for people to mingle or whatever. I did want to do more cooking classes, but I just didn't have the time, and there's other things I could do multiple things I could do versus taking one class. So I kind of gotta stretch it. So I might look into some dance classes or something too, or like those aerialists or whatever. I'm not flexible, but I feel like that could help me loosen up and maybe have some confidence. I was even thinking pole dancing classes, but I don't know about that. Y'all might see that on my other channel if I get around to it. But these are just some ideas that have been floating in my head, and I think I just need to break the ice and at least do one or two of them when we don't have these snowstorms, and just, you know, take those opportunities. And then obviously just travel too, but I gotta be more aware and conscious of my budget until I manifest money somehow. But I have to teach myself that I'm capable of doing it with my own action. If that's going to be my path of least resistance, I definitely have to be a little bit wiser with how I spend. I wish it didn't take me so long to even feel capable of doing it, but I had given up when it came to money too, because just working for small amounts and it not going as far as you think, I realized some of my spending was emotionally driven, like eating habits and just splurging on stuff. So I treat myself once in a while, but I have to realize that I need to do it smart. So if I'm gonna order stuff on Amazon, I need to put everything in the shopping cart, order it one time, or change it up in terms of being social, like out in society. If that means I gotta go to one of these stores and shop around just to get out of the house, I'll do that too. But these are just ways that you could make the mundane things in your life feel special and exciting. Like, it doesn't have to be mundane just because you're not this extravagant rich person. The average person can have a happy life too, but you really have to overcome the mentality and ultimately the relationship with anxiety and depression, if those are things that plague you as well. It's just realizing it's gonna be there and it might not ever leave, but you'll have to choose to not be triggered or reactive by those sensations in your body, by those thoughts that come up. It's just gonna slowly be you observing it, not identifying with it, and seeing that the thoughts and the feelings can pass a lot faster when you're not reacting and giving it meaning. So it's just constantly reminding yourself like that. And if you're like me, it's going to take effort to be aware, pay attention, and then decide not to react. So even if you have to tell yourself, you know what, even though I don't feel good, I'm still going to do this. Even though I don't feel good, it still doesn't mean that I can't be happy about my life or whatever. Because when you think of people that don't have anxiety or depression, they're literally just not reacting to the things that you're reacting to in the same way. Because most people are going through similar circumstances, and what's the difference? It's literally their mentality and how they perceive those things. So you kind of got to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Like, if I was somebody that wasn't depressed, wasn't anxious, how would they view this? If it's a bill you can't pay, overcome your fear, call them that, listen, things are tight, I can only pay $20, can we work something out? And sometimes they'll want to get something instead of nothing, and they'll be okay as long as you just communicate. But I know I had a crippling fear when it came to money and debt and all that stuff, and I felt like embarrassed and ashamed. But it's like, you make decisions, they might not be the best ones, but you got to deal with the consequences. So one, that means dealing with your emotions and not giving yourself grief. Obviously you can put two and two together and see, okay, I made emotional decisions and now I'm feeling guilty about it. So you can think twice when you make your next decision. If you say, I know I'm going to feel guilty about this later, let me not do it now. Do I really need this? And if I do, I'm not going to give myself grief about it. I'm going to wait till I have enough money to pay in full. I'm going to have a plan not to get anything else until I pay this off or whatever. Like paying off a car or getting an apartment. Is either you're going to get a room and you're going to share with people, or you're going to save up to be able to have your own space. If you know realistically, if it's not people you're comfortable living with or it's random strangers, you know your peace of mind, you're really going to want to have your own space, your own kitchen, your own bathroom or whatever. So you realize, you know what, it might take a little bit more of a sacrifice to have my own space, but ultimately that's what I want. So let me wait a little bit. Let me hustle a little bit and do what you can do if you don't think that help is going to come to you. And sometimes when you kind of give up on the idea of getting help, that's when opportunities will happen. But just know, once you have that leg up, you just take advantage of it. So I think that's the best way to go about it. And I think that's all I really have to say about just living your life. This guy's so weird. I'm like, you could have walked across the other way. So I shouldn't be sitting here. I should have pulled over somewhere else, but whatever. But yeah, the whole point is just reevaluating how you perceive things and how you choose to interpret them. And it's going to take a little bit more effort than the average person. Because I know I feel defeated and I don't feel capable of motivating myself. And I could watch a million videos that tell me the same thing. I'll be like, oh, that's good. I got it. Take my notes. Feel confident. And then the moment I shut that video off, an hour or two later, I'm just sitting with my thoughts because I don't have nothing to do. And it's just overwhelming. So it's like you got to build that trust with yourself. But I didn't realize this is going on so long, and I feel like I'm kind of rambling. So let me just close this out, and I will probably just upload this right away as long as it lets me. But yeah, living with anxiety and depression, it's not living at all. We got to change it up. All right, that's what I'm going to leave it at. I'll see y'all in the next one.